Hey there everyone, welcome back to another perfect pairing with me. Clear card fronts made a brief comeback on my Instagram Explore page. I was inspired to give it my twist using some new and well-loved Altenew favorites. Before we get into today's project, make sure you subscribe to the Altenew channel for more card making and paper crafting tutorials. My Perfect Pairings with Jaycee series explores crafting techniques that effortlessly blend sure-to-love new releases and well-loved Altenew favorites. If you love these kinds of crafty tutorials, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of my videos airing on the 2nd and 4th Sunday. This card making tutorial features the whimsical flower vine die set, new for August 2024. This die set is an easy statement piece by itself, or die cut twice for a full A2 card front. Of course, this die set features Altenew's signature alignment cutouts for easy coordination between the partially open flower buds and open daisy type images, or both. As the name suggests, I also love the whimsical Matisse collage illustration in this set. I think it balances the other floral perfect pairing I'll use in this card. To assemble this set of images, I'll first cut the main flower vine in black cardstock twice. I used brushed gold metallic cardstock to cut the first layer with the alignment cutouts. Then I used white cardstock to cut the second layer for this sophisticated palette. I glued and stacked the two black cardstock vines, then aligned the metallic gold images to the respective alignment images along the vine. Then finally, I glued the white cardstock petals to the gold layer to cover up the alignment holes. This is the frontmost element of my card, but before I do anything with this piece, I'll move on to the next layers of this card, which will require some specialty paper. I have two panels here cut to the same dimension. This is vellum and heat-resistant acetate. Now, the heat-resistant acetate does not need to be heat-resistant, but it's the clear cardstock acetate I have in my stash. I have both of these panels cut to 5.5 inches tall by 4 3/4 inch wide. So this will give me a little overhang as shown on my A2 card front panel. I will also need a standard A2 white cardstock panel. I'm using a white panel perfect for stamping and ink blending. In my stamp wheel, I have the SlimGrip to hold the A2 white cardstock panel. I'm also overlaying the vellum panel on top of the white cardstock and aligning the right edge, leaving the overhang on the left as you see here. As I mentioned earlier, I love the Blooming Delight bundle paired with Whimsical Flower Vine. I think the color-blocked texture in Whimsical Flower Vine balances the detailed outline of the Build-A-Garden Blooming Delight. I'm picking this more centered orientation for the Blooming Delight grouping. What I want to do is white heat emboss the outline image on the vellum panel, so that's what I'm prepping the vellum panel for. I found it helpful to heat emboss the panel on my sticky mat grid so that the panel stays flat after heat embossing. And once that panel is done, I will also stamp the outline image in Permanent Mist Gray Pigment Ink. This is a perfect light gray ink for no outline coloring, but it also shows just enough to align the coordinating stencils to Build-A-Garden Blooming Delight. So once I have the white heat embossed outline and white cardstock gray outline panel stamped in the exact same spot on my card front, I'll use the coordinating stencils to color the Blooming Delight outline. I picked a primary and secondary palette similar to the old soft pastel crisp dye ink set. Not all the colors transition to fresh dye ink formulas, but we will still get stunning results regardless. First, I'll use Rouge on the two smaller flowers on the left. Then on the large flower on the right, I'll start with a base of fresh lemon. These first two images are on the #1 stencil included in Blooming Delight. Then on the #2 stencil, I'll use chamomile on the larger flower and hydrangea on the smaller flower images. On the number 3 stencil, I'll use Rouge on the larger flower, and Ocean Waves on the only detail layer on the smaller flowers. To fill in the flower centers, I'm using Fresh Lemon as the fill layer, and Mountain Mist to fill the center layer. Then finally, on the last number 4 stencil, which contains all the leaf images, I'll use Mountain Mist as the base for all the leaves and stems, and Ocean Waves for the detail layer. So I end up with a rainbow bouquet just by using primary and secondary colors. The last few things I'll do to finish this ink blended panel is to add a sentiment. I centered mine on my panel and stamped it in Obsidian Pigment Ink. And then to coordinate with the gold cardstock on Whimsical Flower Vine image, I'm using Gold Pearl Metallic Watercolor to add a gold metallic speckling on top of this ink blended image. I'll set this A2 panel aside now that I have nearly all the elements needed for this layered card. I'm going to make score lines on 2 panels, the white heat embossed vellum and the acetate sheet. Again, these are cut to 4 3/4 by 5.5 inches tall. I want to score the vellum piece along the overhang, so I'm rotating my vellum panel 180 degrees so that I can score along the 4 1/4 line of my Crafter's Essential scoring tool. Then on the acetate sheet, I have to apply a bit more force, so I'm using the back end of my Crafter's Essential tweezers to get a deeper score. In order to reinforce the score line and fold on the acetate sheet, I found it helpful to run the folded panel in my die cutting machine without any dies, using my normal die cutting sandwich. It was enough force to really reinforce the fold. Now that my clear acetate sheet is folded, we can align the Whimsical Flower Vine assembled die cut to the A2 alignment grid of my cutting mat. I recommend using a strong liquid adhesive for this, and I found that the enamel-based glues are better when adhering something to acetate. I'm going to assemble my finished card front from back to front, so starting from the rainbow ink blended floral piece, I'm going to adhere the flap of the vellum outline sheet to the back, making sure that the outline matches the ink blended rainbow coloring. Then simultaneously, I'll glue this vellum and rainbow panel to the clear acetate sheet with the Whimsical Flower Vine die cut to my folded note card base, making sure that the flap is also in the same spot as the vellum flap. So in the end, you won't see any of the flaps from the vellum or the acetate sheets. They'll be hidden between the folded note card base and my rainbow blended panel. I'm making more of a book flap instead of a gatefold card, if that helps. To finish this card, I'm adding 3 satin gold sequins to frame the Whimsical Flower Vine image. I hope you enjoyed this layered card. I can see other images used on the vellum panel or layers of acetate for an exquisitely layered card. My series encourages you to shop your existing Altenew stash and rekindle their love with newer releases. Perfect Pairings with Jaycee airs on the Altenew channel every second and fourth Sunday of the month. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in to this perfect pairing episode with me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey there, Lydia here. I really do hope that you've just enjoyed the video. If so, please subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, turn on the notification bell so you can get your daily dose of crafty techniques and tutorials just like this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.